Thanks for tuning into the Carry Handle podcast. Here's your host, Bryce and Kevin.
Welcome back to the Carry Handle podcast. My name is Bryce, and with me, as always, is Kevin. How are you, Kevin?
I'm well. Thank you for asking, Bryce. And today we're talking about my EDC choices. And
Wow, you cut me off.
I did, because you were going to ask
it.
me. Well, you asked me the same question every time, so I figured I'd just
That's true.
go for the efficiency.
So not to be overly pedantic, but technically,
Don't be overly
you can't
pedantic.
You can't technically say that anymore, because then you stop me from saying the thing you said that I say every time.
Right.
No longer makes it true.
So you're not saying the thing that I said, that you said, that we said, that she said.
What are we talking about? I'm sorry.
I believe we're talking about my urge for a new EDC. With all the news and information coming out about the SIG. Okay, that was enough time for the jokes.
Insert SIG joke.
Yes, insert SIG joke. I don't know. I kind of want a new EDC. I've been carrying the SIG for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a manual safety SIG, so tells you how long ago I bought it.
To be fair,
to be fast. Yes.
I want to say you were getting a little squirrely around SIG in general, and then I think I sent you something from a couple guys talking about how people were observing regular parts breakages. Or was it something along those lines?
It was an Instagram post of an observation of a man that runs like a pistol course. And he's talking about how SIGs are not meant for use and abuse. They're more so
more specifically, let's maybe lay out that we're specifically talking about 365s. That specific module.
I thought the fire control units were pretty similar across the P series.
No, I think the 365 is its own kind of special little design. So really? in terms of those, that people reporting a lot of breakages with the trigger return springs.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you're a Beretta guy, you've heard of that before. Or
it's like a $5 part
but this is happening at like 500 rounds and like 1,000 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a but. Like, could I go buy a stiffer return spring? Yeah, there's like $5. Yeah. Could I go buy the replacement parts and replace the stuff? I could, but I don't mind doing it as a project, kind of like as a gun I'm not going to depend on someday. But a gun I'm going to depend on, I need it to be fucking ready to go. You know,
right?
With a minimal cleaning maintenance cycle, not this like gross in depth, tinkering with the internals every 500 rounds. Which honestly is pretty low round count.
I think my favorite analogy that I kind of thought off the top of my head was when 1911 guys were trying to more seriously carry officer guns, and the service cycles for those recoil springs. And in 45, I think it was like 500 rounds, and you need to start think about replacing recoil springs on these like little 3-inch 45 single stack 1911s, and then on top of that, you had to be really on top of the magazines, because once you started shortening those magazines, the columns of you get less and less spring, and then you start trying to stack as many rounds as you possibly can in these magazines. And so these guys, like, you have to start, I mean, these things are expensive to keep going. And then these guys are taking them to classes, and they're like, yeah, you can keep them running, but to keep them running is just like, you could just see them like burning money.
That's like the car guys when they're like beat the shit Hondas. Yeah, I could keep her running. It's like, how many cars have you bought keeping this thing going?
Right. Yeah, how much money have you invested? So I think that's an interesting point to bring up because I mean I think we talked about you said you were interested in changing guns, but I mean if we start thinking about the money invested in keeping that gun going versus
Right.
just
Getting a whole new.
stopping, yeah, and not throwing money after bad, as it were.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
I do think there's something to be said for keeping something and maintaining something and observing common parts maintenance schedules, and that's cool. That's fine. But I think there's
I
also
agree.
I
At
would
what point is it?
understand being wary.
Yeah. At what point is it diminishing returns?
Right.
You know.
Well, so for you, I mean, this is your deal. What is that? I mean, where's that line?
Well, I think it. So recently, I put together a Glock 45 DIY at home. Yeah, a lone wolf tactical. Help me out here. Frame complete.
Brown, yeah, and then a Brownells.
Oh no! I'm sorry. It wasn't a complete frame. I put all the internals in.
Yeah.
So I did the lower that had the Brownells slide RMR cut with the window, because and of course they come out with the non-window cut like 2 months later. I'm like, great, thanks Brownells. But it kind of reinvigorated my interest in the Glock 19 Glock platform. The problem I was running into is the holster I have super not comfortable to wear. I'm trying every day. I try to wear it more often, more frequently. But damn it, if that SIG just doesn't just disappear, you know. So
it has a lot of interesting angles that make it so that it carries a lot better. A lot like a revolver. It's not as many right angles as say a Glock or something like that.
Yeah, and I recently picked up a Hellcat Pro, which you told me that has like crazy amounts of internals in it.
I'm not a big fan, but they're not an XD, so
right.
I don't know. I haven't heard a lot of people like them.
It felt about the same as the SIG, honestly. And the interesting thing was you could get a package for like 5 mags for under $600. Which
Springfield basically just throws magazines at their customers. I will say that.
Yeah, I mean that's nice because I bought a 21 round magazine for SIG, the SIG 21 round mag for the memes. It was like $70.
Oh, the macro. Yeah, those magazines. Yeah. Well, I mean as a Smith & Wesson and HK boy, I can tell you that those magazines are not cheap. Or an FN. I used to be an FN boy. I think I have like 15 of those mags. FNS mags.
Jesus.
Ooh, buddy. I don't feel like it's kind of like when I was telling you how many Wilson Combat magazines I had. Oh, to be single again.
Oh,
yes, I'll buy $600 in magazines. It'll be fine.
Yeah. I did get a chance to touch the fuse in the macro at the shop because they had a couple for rental. And the guy, that clerk, he was super cool. Like, tell me if you've ever had a gun store clerk where you're talking to him about a gun and you just break the slide off the top of it. And you look at it, you're like, oh, pretty cool. And he's just talking to you like it's a normal, just like conversation. Like, oh, yeah. And you just slap it back on and hand it back to him. He's like, cool, thanks.
I like a laid back shop. That's something I feel like you get a lot of these dudes that are like these goosed up, like it looks like they just got off a TRT and lifting whatever sadness away.
There's some nervous. I mean the shop it's a cool shop. It's definitely a place I like going. But the point is, I told you about the mag, and then you sent me a link to the macro frame. And
the Wilson Combat.
It got my brain thinking. I'm like, well, I'm already invested in SIG. But here's the thing. Here's the kicker. The mags I have for the 365 as it is now will not fit macro.
No, because they're just XL magazines.
Right.
They're not long enough.
So I think that's kind of the sticking point for me not wanting to go down that route.
Wilson Combat also has thumb or
Yeah, but
thumb
I'd have to.
safety cut.
I mean, the
XL
magazine
frames.
is. I can probably
No,
find
no,
the
no.
magazines for what?
Well, no, they
$70?
have the regular XL grip frame too.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, the whole
I don't
reason
think
I
it
was
is.
trying to get
think,
away from it was, there's problems from the maintenance, and it's high maintenance. So
well, and I guess I could circle back to you can make the gun work if you're
Oh,
okay
yeah.
with that, and you're observing these things, and you're okay with if
Yeah.
the gun, like if you're. I'm kind of the way I'm starting to rationalize SIGs, or at least the P365s, like the really hyper small compact 9mm, is that's like pushing if because we were just talking to Baofeng about ballistics when we talk about bullets,
Right.
pushing things to the very edge, and there's a bit of drama going on about the 7mm backcountry, and I'm sure Tactical finds that very funny that I brought that up, but it's a very spicy round, and it has a propensity to be spicy therein. So, and I kind of see that in a similar vein. It's like, yeah, if you get it to work, it's very good at this very specific task of having 12 or 13 rounds of 9mm in a very small package. And when it works, that's super cool, but it's also still a SIG.
It's still a SIG.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's like my mentality is I need a gun I can train with. So the Glock 19, I mean, I put so many rounds in my original Glock 19. I think everything's new. All the internals.
Yeah,
are
that
new on
gun's been
gun.
rebuilt. It's been completely rebuilt. At least this might be the second. I mean, because it was more gradual, but this is, I would say this most recent rebuild was a more top to, because before it was more piecemeal, and now you were just like, I should probably, my trigger dingus doesn't work anymore. Maybe the whole gun should be rebuilt.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I mean, you pointed that out.
Yeah.
I mean, I was still carrying that around here and there, And you're just like, I bring it to you. And for the viewers out there, I'll give some content. So I brought when I visited Bryce last time at his compound somewhere in middle of nowhere, Florida, from my compound in somewhere middle of nowhere, Florida. He noticed that the safety shoe on my Glock trigger was non-functional.
Well, I mean, it technically, no, it didn't. It
shot. It was shooting.
It did shoot, yeah.
I shot it like a week before I came out to visit you, so. And I was like dumping rounds. I was wondering, I'm like, man, this thing's like really nice to shoot. Like, is there no, I can just pull the trigger anywhere I want. I don't really have to be centered on the trigger. That's crazy. It's just going bang, bang, bang. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Refuses to investigate.
Yeah, just carrying, I mean, there's like
absolute fiend.
There's 3 or 4 internal safeties. I mean, if one of them fails, like whatever, that's the redundancy of Glock.
The inertial safety. My goodness gracious! Arguably one of the biggest sticking points in SIG's craw for a little while.
Didn't I? I think I asked you if I could like put the Glock together without the safety plunger, the striker safety plunger.
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah.
You're like, yes, not recommended.
Highly not recommended. But yes, you absolutely can. Okay, so real quick, we talked about so like modifying it to keep it kind of because of
keep it going.
Same vein of the keep it going,
right?
Kind of cobble Glock or cobblepot Glock style.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we were talking about if you wanted to make this. I mean, we've talked off air a couple times about it, but about getting potentially a better thumb safety and potentially addressing the trigger return spring by getting a nicer quality one. And then potentially you wouldn't maybe have to worry about it as much. So that's always an option. Now, with that being said, these upgrades all said and done, you're probably into it another $200 shipped.
Yeah.
I would say with the module, if you didn't end up opting for the larger macro style and you just stuck with the XL style, which I think is a good size.
I think I would stick with that size just because the cost of switching magazines.
Oh yeah, I totally understand. I mean, I think the Fuse magazines are the macro magazines more expensive?
I think the one I have
they would be.
I think the 21 rounder is the Fuse magazine.
Yeah, that's the extent. I think it also came with the TAC Ops too, if I remember correctly.
And the craziest thing is, I don't necessarily hate it in the gun concealed.
Well, I mean, you sent me a picture. It actually, I didn't really notice it, and I mean, you wouldn't really notice, especially if you're just getting gas in your car. It's not that bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my other thought process was have a normal one in the gun, flush fit, and then have that stendo like on a pocket clip or something as a backup.
Right.
I think that'd be like the most viable idea, the viable option.
Well, so walk me through that then.
Well, I mean, the offensive handgun theory says you want as much ammo and as much cheating power as you can. You got to fight with what you have on you.
Okay.
But in the same vein, the more stuff you put on, the less concealability you start to have. So when you have a massive duty sized gun, it's hard to, and you can attest this, it's pretty hard to get that thing to conceal completely and vanish, Not
I would
impossible.
say it's you have it. See, this is the biggest part, because then you get people that it's like, oh, you just like it you're just not the right blah blah blah. And
this is speaking from our specific experiences.
Yeah.
The viewers may have different experiences. We appreciate, acknowledge them, but this is for all the naysayers out there.
So I will admit I've been on my own, or not admit, I will say that as a caveat, I've been on my own little concealed carry journey as well, mostly because I've gone through some weight loss, and then I had to kind of readdress. Thank you. And then this was a little bit ago, but I then had to kind of readdress how I carried a gun, because I was one size for a very long time, and now I can't carry a Glock 34 with an X300 anymore.
You don't have
doesn't really work.
You don't have that extra poof. I mean,
I don't have the camouflage.
I joke that I have a dad bod and belly. Man, if it doesn't just fold over, it
does hide guns very conveniently. I will say that. Now, I will admit I've been doing some exercising and getting a slightly larger, like if your shoulder's getting a little bigger, it has helped a little bit. It's like it's pulled the shirt out a little bit, so it doesn't. My goal is to be able to carry a Glock 47 and then never have to carry a compact gun again. I'm so excited. That's my goal.
Good goal.
Yeah, just have a body that works with a Glock 47, so I don't have to be concerned with carrying a fucking Glock 19 or an MNP compact ever again. Ever again. I detest compact guns. So I either want a Glock 26 size gun or I want a Glock 17 size gun. I don't want one in the middle. I don't care for a gun in the middle. It doesn't make any sense to me, and I hate them. Kevin knows this. I hate them.
Jesus, tell us how you really feel.
I own one compact, like traditional compact gun, and it's that M&P. Do I own any? Do I own anything else?
I own the M&P I talked you into, and then sold mine.
Yeah, and then promptly got rid of his like a fucking dick.
Sold mine. But so all right, so circle back to the defensive handgun theory. For me, I don't want to lose that concealability that I get with my, small compact. So that's why my thought process is have a normal flush fit mag and stendo in a pocket, which, I mean, it fits in the pocket. It's fine. And then you can get like the neodymium clips or whatever.
Like the Neomag.
Yeah.
The Neomag.
Right. Then I'd have kind of like a meat in the middle, right? I'd have, like, if I got into something, which, ideally I don't like it into anything, but if I got into something, I have whatever I got in the gun, mag, empty the mag, put the new mag in, and the new mag is, 21 around. So if I'm still having problems after all that, I mean, it's I'm just an idiot.
Yeah. How
Like,
much more of a seatbelt do you need?
Well, it's not even that. Like, I mean, I don't want to get too far in the tactics, but I mean, I'm a civilian. I'm not going to be like, oh, let me mag dump it. No, I'm going to tell you stop and then leave.
Right.
Or, do whatever.
Whatever appropriate recourse.
Yes, the appropriate and legal recourses for your state, local, or county. This is not legal advice.
State and local jurisdictions.
And country jurisdictions.
Yes,
we see you.
Yes.
We see you over there. Yeah, Aussies.
Yes. And Canadian. I responded to a comment from a Canadian, and we like Canadians.
Our brothers
Just
in the north.
as a fair note, I have a big heart for Canadian small arms.
Yeah,
I have a big heart on.
You
like that?
Oh, hey, that's pretty good, eh?
Hey. Yes.
So that was.
Okay. So building your thought is. So you're okay. This is what I don't understand is you want a new gun, but then you spend $70 on that offensively handgun-minded magazine. I just thought about this. Hold on. You're giving me guff about trying to get you to like maybe invest money into it. And it's like, oh, well, I don't know if I want to invest money in this. And I just thought about it. And I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, I've already invested.
Just bought a magazine.
I do impulsive purchases and I attempt to rationalize them afterwards.
And then give me shit when I try to point it out.
And give you absolute shit while you're pointing it out.
Absolute insanity. Malarkey.
I mean, we don't even need to talk about the video that we just did about how I may have shifted around some DCC clips on some holsters.
The editing for that video was, I don't know if that one will probably come out at some point, but
I hope it does.
How to edit it in such a way because it'd be funny, but holy hell. Did you like the intro? I guess we could kind of openly talk about this real quick. It's a short barrel. It's fine. Did you like the intro?
I did.
I clipped that one part. I clipped a part of my favorite thing is I like clip humor. So if it's something I can clip really quickly and just have like as an independent joke, I think it's funny. So moving forward, if you're confused by that, if you like bloopers, there's usually shit at the end of the videos or the end of the audio and shit like that too. But so all right, so that means you're erring on the side of where did we land? Are you getting a new gun or are you not?
I'm erring on the side of shoving my Cobblepot Glock down my pants and hoping for the best.
Wait. That's completely on the other spectrum. The other end of the spectrum. So okay, now you could think about this. You could for another $200 get another Lone Wolf frame.
I could
get the compact one.
Well, here's the hot take. Are you ready for the hot take?
I'm excited for tell me hot off the hot take presses.
Hot off the hot take presses. The majority of the problems and issues I was having on the Cobblepot Glock holster on the 2 DCC clips solved itself by taking away one of the DCC clips.
So you're saying you think maybe it was torquing on it too much? Like there was too much tuck or
maybe. There's also, me, like my style of carry is ease of on and off because I don't. Yeah. I'm a boob. Yes, ha ha ha. Again, my views, not your views, not anyone else's views. We respect them. Thank you for the naysayers that will say something. But I like to put it on, go out, do my stuff, come home, and pop it off.
Right.
So having I tried to manhandle 2 steel clips that are attempting to rip my fucking pants off all the time. Not fun. And oh boy, will they rip the absolute piss right off your cheap Chinese shorts.
Oh yeah, no, I I mean, I have some decent belts too, and I mean they've gone through the belts pretty well.
We almost should
Like,
do if this video or this gets a lot of views. We almost should do an in-person video of just buying a cheap pair of shorts at Walmart and putting like obviously taking safety precautions, but putting getting some DCC clips, throw them on a cheap holster, and just intention to rip the ever living fucking piss of the gun off.
I like
the
that.
Shorts. Just to see if we can completely just shred the shorts.
Just take it down. Absolutely. Just see how raw we can make it.
We can do behind the back sets of clock carry, and the skit is the perpetrator, whichever was probably me, wants to portray that, will go up behind the person and just try and rip the ever living piss of the whole story.
Why?
To simulate the power of the DCC clip.
You're listening to all of these amazing ideas and so many more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? We appreciate you tuning in for this completely off the cuff, short barreled episode, which is what we call these. Actually, it's a short barrel.
Yep, because they're short and we barrel through them. What have
we established? That you're just not gonna we've posited a question, didn't really answer it, and then twisted the plot or twisted it at the end, and then you ended up doing something completely different.
So the question was, I wanted to get away from SIG as a concealed carry. Then I jumped to perhaps find a new gun versus maintaining the SIG, which then
because he just spent $70 on a fucking magazine.
Because I just spent $70 on a magazine, I deposited the idea of this offensive carry handgun kind of idea.
And then switches platforms altogether to a full-size handgun.
And then I just said, I'm just going to go right to my full-size handgun. Because
just wasting the poor viewer's time anyway. You've listened to 30 minutes of nonsense for no reason.
Yeah, Jesus.
Absolute unhinged nonsense. Well, again, thank you so much for tuning in. This is what you have to expect with episodes like this. Thank you so much for tuning
insanity. Adios.
All right, bye. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Very cool. You should like and subscribe.
On Facebook and Instagram.
And Twitter and Spotify. You should listen there too. If you
aren't they listening to this on Spotify right now?
Well, they could be, but there's also YouTube podcasts, so all of the places.
We always forget where we post this stuff.
We don't know where this is. Thank you for listening wherever you're listening to, but you should also like the other places that we are. And
Who are we and what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah, I don't know how we got here. So thank you for letting us talk directly into your ear holes.
Right to the brain.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Adios.